So our finals this year are 3+1, are Pepper and Monterey, Harry and Shelley, Hazan, and Frico. So what we have now is with these 4, I would love it if we could get a little bit of words of advice in the next challenge. You know what the challenge is. They've got a film to make. They've got a little mini pilot essentially they can be making. So for Pepper and Monterey, what words of advice are we giving them right now going into that final challenge? If you've got a minute, a wish gone bad situation, I know I'm putting you guys on the spot.
I would say that to really define those 2 characters so we know what their differences are. Because right now they just sort of seem like they were going after the same thing. Like, let's get this job. Even one seemed a bit more skittish. But I just think, like, what is their individual wish? And how do each of them either decide they're going after one or divide and I don't know. Anyways, I just think it's an
interesting point. As a comedy duo, they have to decide on a wish together.
Yeah.
Exactly. What's the conflict in that?
Anybody else? We all like it. Christopher, what would you say?
I agree with Stephanie, is like define their characters. I think they got a little bit away. We know that the ghost character is a little bit naive, if you will, and the cat character is sort of the brains behind it. Don't skew way out of the demo. Keep it funny. Keep it smart humor, not silly humor, but not going too adult with its themes, and you will be brilliant in that way. It's a great concept going into it.
Yeah. Don't have them wish for like a job or something like that. Wish for something, a bit more.
So keep kid relatable scenarios that we talked about earlier. Really try to push that.
Yeah, and I think play up the stretch and squash style and keep the pacing nice and keep it moving quickly, because I think that will really help it. Yeah.
I want to reemphasize too that over time Pepper the cat has gotten kind of less jerky and less aggressive without losing his dominant personality. I really like it where it is.
Yeah.
So don't get him too angry or too mean again. This is where it is right now, is very sweet spot.
He's in a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was great, and keep them a duo. Like they're like Harry and Shelley. They have a nice relationship.
It's charming. It's heartwarming.
Okay. So then, Harry and Shelley, we need some words of advice for them.
It's almost the same advice, I think, in some ways, just because it's that duo again. So it's just making them really clear who they are. I'd say go back and watch Sunny and Bentley, watch some great buddy comedies, classics, and build from there.
For me, I'm sure Harry and Shelley, writing-wise, is going to nail this.
Yeah.
If it's going to win, it needs to be cleaned up. So the designs need to be tighter, the voices need to be bang on, like Christopher saying lip sync. But it just, because it's so there. And that background choice you were talking about earlier too, like are all the skies real, but the foreground isn't, or like what is, there needs to be a few more final polished decisions made. That's a lot to ask, but I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I think you have to look like you're up against Pepper and Monterey, which is so beautiful, up against Hazan, which the voice is so strong, and there's also Frico, which whatever. So yeah, I think there's a little bit more polish.
We've never had lip sync from them, and I think that it's important to show that in the final. That's just me, though. So,
but I mean, this is it. We talk about this sort of as we're moving forward. These things do become important because you really have to be able to. That's the point of this whole thing, is that we're showing, not telling. You know, like it's not about sending you a script to approve. It's about we're trying to show you what the show would look like. And you get to this stage in the competition, and it's for all the marbles at this point. We're talking about $25,000 of development money for the winner here. There are high stakes at this stage. And I think that's where, after we get through the last two, I want to actually sort of talk to the creators directly in terms of their strategy and what they've got on the line in this moment.
Why haven't they done lip sync to this point? Has it been a time crunch? Or
I think they've always taken.
Is that not their?
I think it's been more that it's been a very ambitious ask every time. Like they've really done more than most. Like in a lot, everyone has been very ambitious.
Yeah.
And so in order to execute, it's been less on the production side and more on like they're doing more than a lot of people every time.
Do they have more time for this challenge?
A little bit.
Okay, 1 to 3 minutes too.
Yep. So Hazan, words of advice to Hazan.
Figure out that world. You know, where are they? What are they doing? Like, Like, I don't know. It's so goofy and out there. I don't know if you can figure out
Do
the
they live
words.
under a couch? Is the dust bowl like? Is it a
I-
dust? It's a dust ball, right? I think
the
they live
dust
under.
bowl.
I think they live under a couch. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Clearly, we
But
need
they want to
something.
be famous. That's the goal, right?
It seems to
Like-
have shifted along the way. Like, we didn't really know what it was at all at
We're
first.
not
It was just
sure.
some funny voices, and so
But
I think
that's
we're
cool.
getting to some clarity, but we obviously don't know what that is yet.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting
That's a
down to
big
make
no.
your 1 to 3 minute, you've got to really crystallize what this is for us based on the notes that you're getting right now, and that's what I'm looking for.
Because I don't think the wish should be as wacky. If everybody's been saying, what is this? This is so weird. This is so random. If that wish can sell what the concept is, where it's like, I want to be famous, or I want this, I want to break out of the dust bowl.
Yeah, I want to
for
get out
whatever.
from under the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, back under the couch, everybody. Like, it's awful out there. You know, whatever it is, I think, yeah, that's because it's already so great in lots of ways. Just we don't know what the heck it is.
Right. Okay.
Focus on that.
Anybody else on that one?
Yeah, I disagree. I love Hazan, and I could not tell you what it's about.
Yeah. So now we need to see. We really need to see.
Yeah.
And part of that setup is like, under what circumstances would this character be in a place where they are making a wish that they
Yeah.
think will actually come true?
Yeah.
So what is that, in that world that you've developed, what is that circumstance? That should be a trigger to show us that world, to define those things for us.
What drives them. Yeah.
And Frico? Any advice for Frico at this point? At this stage of the game, what would you say to them?
I would say do what you do best. It's working.
Yeah, go for it.
Embrace it, embrace the humor. Figure out, just be post-apocalyptic and figure out how that works. Do it.
Yeah, I'd also say maybe show an 8-year-old, see what they think. You can get that like one-on-one feedback from them.
Yeah?
8, 9, 10-year-olds.
See what a kid
they
actually
think.
thinks of
If
it.
they respond to it, maybe they're on something.
Well, yeah, and if they really want to win that money, then they can
Yeah.
figure out a way to make, or they're going to have to figure out a way to make that concept fit the challenge. And if they don't, then they can, so be it. They
Do
go
their
and
own
make another
thing,
show.
yeah.
But to get that money, you have to figure out a way to make that
you
show
guys
fit.
that-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think overall, my note for all of them, though, is to really take that a few days in the beginning and write out that script, really, and think about what they're doing. Some of it feels like the words are secondary almost, and just make sure that those it's really drawing from the process of the writing, comes the next level, comes the next level, comes the next level, that sort of thing.
So that's where I just want
The top 4 have unique styles, so I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think we've got an interesting mix. I
Yeah,
think
actually.
those top 3, which are all within the demographic, have their own unique strengths. Like Pepper and Monterey. Really, what we're hitting here is that if we had something that had the visual finesse of Pepper and Monterey, but the writing
Yeah.
of Harry and Shelley and the great voice work of Hazan,
Yeah.
those are the strengths of those 3.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And each of those 3 creators have to look at that and say, okay, what do I need to compete with this guy?
Yeah.
What do I need to
Yeah.
compete with this one?
Yeah.
How do I have to raise my game? And that's where I want to ask you just quickly, as talking to these creators, as people who all 4 of them entered this because they want to be someone who sells a show. They want to be someone who creates a show. They want to be someone who has a voice that goes beyond the show they're working on for somebody else. They have an opportunity right now in this next round to be aiming for $25,000 of development money. Talking to the creator, not talking to the notes, not talking to the show. What do you have to say to them right now?
I mean, believe in your voice. I think like the most important thing is that your voice ends up on the screen, and take all these logical things into account, but don't lose your voice. I'd say as a creator.
That's a great note, and it's easy to do, especially when you're
Yeah.
getting notes like we just gave. Like you need to compete with this show and this show, so put it in that direction, but don't lose your show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all really distinct and they're already great. So just work a little harder.
Yeah. I would say, put a commercial lens on it as well. Think about if you really do want this to be a series, you have to sell it to most likely a commercial network, not TVO, but, and so think about that. So, sort of dispense with the inside jokes, the fanboy stuff, and really make a show that you think will appeal to a broad audience.
Yeah, I think that was, I've seen from for the first round of Startoon, a lot of great concept not make it through because they went too fanboy or too niche or too insider, that it wasn't like they were still selling great characters and great concepts. They just kind of, I think some people got off on like, oh, that'd be funny if I did this for a gag or for wish fulfillment or for a scare. I think we had once, I can't remember them exactly, but it was just like, whoa, this is out of nowhere and you're not being true to what you pitched. And I think so back to the voice
Yeah.
and what it is that you want to do, don't lose that. It's got to
Yeah.
be, think of it as a trailer in some ways so that you can go into a commercial network because you put all this time and energy into it. Hopefully you can use it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think of it as like a Venn diagram where like what you believe in, what you find funny, and what is going to work for like a 6 to 12 audience, and what's in that Venn diagram, that goes in there.
Right.
Right.
So,
You, sir?
Love your characters, be passionate about your idea, embrace it, go for it, and have one or two trusted people that you really appreciate look at it once or twice to just give you that outsider feedback a little bit before you get too far along and down a path that you can't go away from. Trusted though, don't show it to someone who's just going to give you random notes and stuff. Just have someone look at it from the writing perspective, and then look at it from like if they do a little animatic of it or something like that. So and then just go for your passion. It's pretty amazing.
I'm going to speak directly to the creators as well. We saw last year some very strong contenders. Matt Haynes came out sort of halfway through and really picked up and became something really solid with Cupcake, and gave Sonny and Bentley a run for its money. I think we had our wild card in Jack the Rabbit was strong, but it really was a battle of two at the end there. And if this is why you're in this, if this is what you're doing, and you've got X amount of time to do it, we were presented with the problem, and it was a great problem for Andy to have, is that he basically made a pilot for his project last year. He took time off of work to do it. In fact, both of them. Matt Haynes took a week off as well. I'm not telling you take time off, but at this point you have to decide what the value of this is for you, because we have a set time frame, and we have judges who are going to be in the room, and we do have a vote that's going to continue through to be one of those spots. This is for $25,000. Andy Greeling, full-time right now, is working on his own project to develop it. So if you ever were going, it's a shame about Max Piersig and his animatic this time, because Max is a strong creator. And I'm not saying he would have been a winner this time around, but he's a strong creator, and if at this stage of the game something like that gets in the way, that's really too bad. That's a shame. So this is it. This is the big push. You've got tons of feedback here in the room of what to do with this. Now it's a matter of putting in the work, because there is actually a lot riding on this, and this is why you got into it. So don't have an excuse. As a creator, you're going to kick yourself forever if something got in the way of this. Put your best foot forward right now for these guys the next time around. There's only one more shot at this right now. Okay? All right, we're done. Thanks, guys.